everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. I am your host, Mark Kelly. It's lovely to see you or to talk with you again. It's been an amazing run. We're almost now at that point where we've been going for nearly 18 months. It's amazing. It's great. It's hard to believe that we're still going. But I am eternally grateful for the amazing talent and people that are in Northland. You know, we've got some absolute brilliant artists of all ranges. What are we? We're in, it's hard to believe. It's October. It's October. Man, that came around so fast. I just remember blinking and going, yeah, we celebrated our 1 year, in May, and then all of a sudden it's October. I just don't know where the year's gone. Good news is it brings us closer to that lovely time of the year we call Christmas and New Year's. So that'll be good. I'm going to flick to my camera here. So actually, you know what? I'm not going to flick back to my camera. I'm going to flick back to the wide. You will probably be, if you're watching this, you'll probably see that there is a few changes. Well, we've had a ton of changes in the studio over the last month or so. The main one that if you're watching will see is we've got some nice new comfy chairs. And this is important because, it's always nice for our guests to sit down and feel comfortable. It's one of the things that kind of helps people open up. So we've got these burgundy. Is that the colour we're going to go with?
They're more so red.
More red, like a mixture of red and burgundy from producer Andrew. A nice deep blood red. Now I say blood red as I cut to my camera and say, on this week's podcast we have a couple of amazing people from Northland Horror. We have Aaron Kerr, who has been on the podcast before, and he brought along one of the Northland Horror crew with him, Kelly Jelovich. And, it was great to have them sitting down together in the studio. It was amazing to actually be able to have two guests at the same time. We've never been able to do that before. Now we have. It was one of those podcasts that was really cool and really different. And then we had that really weird moment kind of in the middle. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it. It's very, very different. Just kind of happened out of nowhere. So I tell you what, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you guys enjoy it because this was amazing. So let's sit down and have a conversation. Well, yeah, let's sit down and have a conversation with Northland Horror. Just like that, we've kind of started. They don't really have a particular starting point. I don't know if you remember how your first experience was.
I was nervous as anything.
Yeah, good. That's how we like people to be. It's intimidating. Guys, thank you so much for coming in and joining us on the Northland Artists Conversation. This is the first time we've done a two-hander, so it's quite cool to have two guests in as well. For those of you that are watching and listening, I'm joined by Aaron Kerr and Kelly Jelovich. And you guys are half of Northland Horror?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Half of the... when you came in last time, we kind of talked about you and how you got into horror and those wonderful stories about the jail down in Dunedin.
That's good, eh?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Scary as shit.
Yeah.
Scary as shit. So I'm very, very interested, Kelly, to know how you got into horror in general. I know where I came from. It was Troll 1 that really did it for me.
Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously the original, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now that had a famous actor in it. What the hell was his name? He played... Was he in the Munsters? He was in the Munsters. He played the old character, Fred Gwynn. He was the one that sat down and had the old discussion. He can't bring the dead back because when they do come back, they'll be dead. The kind of the older statesman that imparted things. What was it about Pet Sematary that really kind of set you off?
Oh, don't really remember. I was such a young kid and it just scared the bejeebers out of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Roughly...
Oh, I would have been probably 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't
So,
tell my mum.
yeah, no, mum, it's all fine. Everything was above board. Pet Sematary, I think, is rated an M, so they say mature audiences. But how many years ago when you saw it? Are we talking like
Lots.
We're talking. Let's just say 20 years.
Something.
Yeah, 20 blah 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 years.
Yeah.
And then where did you once you discover it, do you kind of start going, yeah, I really like how this made me feel, terrified and afraid and not wanting to sleep. Then sort of where do you pick up from that point onwards? Do you kind of find a franchise and dive down that, or?
I don't know. I just watched a few movies. It wasn't really until probably about 9 years ago when I started getting into makeup and face painting and special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the interesting thing with Northland Horror is, from an outsider's perspective, is you're a bit of a motley crew. You've all come together under this, well, we like scaring the shit out of people. We're good at scaring the shit out of people. We should scare the shit out of people.
Pretty much.
To sum it up,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep.
And how long has Northland Horror as a group been going for now?
Probably about 4 years, I would say. Now.
4 years.
Yeah, about 4 years. Yeah.
When you started, there was like kind of the core group of 3 or 4? Or
started with just Aaron.
Was it just you?
Just me, and then I just roped in people like Kelly and a few others to get dressed up and help me scare a few lovely people at an event, and it just sort of grew from there.
Well, thinking back to when you guys started, what was the sort of first event that you did that you presented yourselves as Northland Horror?
It would have been up at Heads Up. We helped with a fright night up there.
Heads Up, that's
the adventure scooter.
Oh, that's the big adult scooters,
Yeah.
right? Okay, that's out of Onarahi heading towards Parua Bay.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Okay. Now I'm really interested to know how that came about. Because it's not like they're going, man, we need some people to scare the shit out of some people. Here's Northland Horror, man. They got a great Facebook page, or however it was. Let's get in touch with these guys. How did it kind of come about?
Well, for me, obviously with my background, I wanted to bring something here to Whangarei.
Yep.
But I struggled to find a venue. So I seen that these guys were putting on a event, and I just approached them.
Okay. And were you involved at this stage as well?
Only acting.
Just in the acting side of things. So it was just character stuff. You hadn't really... Because where do you sit in the group? I'm guessing because does everyone kind of have their own specialty areas that they're good at? Or is someone's delegated as the boss and someone's delegated as treasurer or whatever. I don't really know. That's why we're here. Where to find out? Let's learn more.
Well, everyone keeps calling me the boss.
Right.
Yeah. Which I don't like that term. I'd rather sort of everyone working together to achieve the same goal.
Yep.
But yeah, so I pretty much do a lot of the prop building, advertising, poster designs, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Kelly's does makeup and a lot of everything else.
Now, who else is in the group mainly? Who would we say are the core members? So yourself, and then we've got
Sarah and Terry.
And
right. Karen.
And Karen.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's interesting. I think we first met at Plunge. That was the first time. Not the Nun year. It was the one before that, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
When you guys look at characters and the greats that have been in horror over the years, do you sort of go, man, I would love to dress up as, blah, blah, or you should dress up as blah, blah, blah. Because obviously, Aaron, you're quite tall.
Yes.
So the shape, Michael Myers, right? That's kind of your go-to. It's kind of the main character, right?
Yeah, so that's the one I've done usually in the past.
Right.
With my past charity work in horror. That was the character that I became in the end.
Yep.
Because it just suited me so well. So I've carried it on, moving back up here.
Strong and silent. But Kelly, do you have a main character that you kind of work with, or do you kind
Pennywise.
Pennywise. Now, are you Tim Curry Pennywise or Bill Skarsgård Pennywise? Bill. Yeah, look, Bill.
I know, sorry.
Well, no, I think probably like a lot of people that are sort of around the same age as us. Mid-30s. Hey, producer Andrew, that's quite in the cheap seats. We saw, I don't know if you did, but we saw it on TV. I remember it being Monday night part 1 and then Tuesday night part 2. And it was on TV 2, because we only had 1 and 2 back in the day. And it was a terrifying event. So, why Bill? Why the Bill Skarsgård?
Probably a better costume to start with.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Any
and the teeth.
That
scary.
Yeah. Is it like when the jaw really opens up with who's the son that is right at the end? Is it Georgie? Georgie, who floats the boat down the drain. Yeah, that's... Wait. Why is everything gone dark? Yeah, so I'm not entirely too sure what just happened there. Right. So, we had Aaron. We had... Right. So, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. This is a podcast where we interview people that have a creative expression in Northland or are coming to Northland. So, thank you for taking your time to visit us from... Dia Los Muertos. I don't even know if it's that time of year, but... So I think the best thing we can do here is to just try and ask these guys a few questions. So I'm curious to know what has brought you here today. Anything? No? Okay. Right. This is my wide. This is a bit of a first for us here at the podcast. I actually wasn't expecting this at all. White light's a little bit creepy, a little bit terrifying. Reminds me of an interview I did a few years ago with the Nun. Anyway, let's push on. So, I think the the Day of the Dead celebrations are always they're fun because it's like you're celebrating people who have passed on, and they have their lives celebrated by friends and family and loved ones. So I'm very curious to know who is celebrating your time at the moment. Whenever you're ready. An answer will be no? Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So I get a feeling it's going to be a little bit hard to get something out of you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and lay an easy question first. What are your names? Not really talky. Okay. Yeah. Alrighty. A little bit creepy. Okay. So, let me see if I can piece this together. You're from Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, celebration of the loved ones that have passed on. And you're here now. Right. We don't have a name. No names? No names. For those of you that don't know, there's a America's Got Talent piece that was on a few years ago with a New Zealand entertainer called Tapeface. Great, amazing comedian. Big piece of black duct tape across his face. Simon Cowell tried to interview him, didn't work out that well. I get the sense we're going to have that today. Okay. Right. So, no names. No one's celebrating you. And you appeared out of nowhere. Right. Have I missed anything? If I have, blink twice rapidly. That was... Yeah. Look, folks, this is definitely not what we signed up for on Northland Artists Conversation here. I would much rather interview... Wait, what? What? Why have the lights gone out again? Are you kidding me? What the actual hell is going on? Well, hello again, everyone. Yeah, not entirely too sure what happened there. Look, I won't lie. It was a little bit awkward. We were talking, and then there were people that I wasn't talking to. And quite frankly, they weren't exactly the best conversationalists. So less than ideal on a podcast. So for people that are listening, there was a small period where... we were joined by a couple of people from Dia de los Muertos, which is the Day of the Dead celebrations. So, welcome back. It's lovely to have you back here. Technical issues aside. But technical issues, I mean the strange people visiting from Mexico. It's a no. Now, we were talking before about your first... movie that kind of got you into the horror persuasion being Pet Sematary, and Pennywise kind of being your character with the Bill Skarsgård one. Yep. I know, are there any Stephen King book to film adaptations that you've also gravitated towards, or was it just kind of one of those things?
Probably just one of those things.
One of those things? Yeah. Okay. Now, you're obviously, because you're quite a tall gentleman, at a whopping 6'7". 6'7". Yeah. Okay. That obviously kind of leans itself towards these very big hulking characters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for you, your go-to character would be...
Michael Myers.
Right. Now, he's also known as the Shape, right?
Yes.
Now, do you have any interesting facts about Michael Myers?
Can't kill the boogeyman.
You can't, but you can make him wear a William Shatner mask.
Yes. Yeah.
So, for people that are at home or listening who may or may not know, the mask that Michael Myers wears was originally a William Shatner mask. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. And they just made some modifications to it and put on really bad hair.
Yeah, so they slicked back the hair, opened up the eye sockets a wee bit, and painted it white.
There we go. Now, Kelly, your go-to character is Pennywise. Right. And obviously the Bill Skarsgård version is the more recent of the versions. Is it because he's, if we think about Pennywise, the mini-series with Tim Curry, he was kind of a bit of a jester, right? Yeah. Whereas I think the Bill Skarsgård one kind of takes it more into that creepy, really scary territory. Is that why that he's the version you prefer? And
he's probably more recognisable.
Right. Okay.
With most people nowadays.
Yeah. My son recognises Pennywise.
Yeah.
It's an R18 film. Love YouTube. It's like, Dad, I want to watch Pennywise. No, you don't. You're a little bit too young for that. And the other members of Northland Horror, who are their kind of go-to characters as well?
So Terry dresses up as your favourite, the nun.
The nun, yep. Just creepy all day. Yep. Yeah. Her and HR Puffin stuff have traumatised me. And Sarah dresses as
Jason Voorhees.
And Karen, what role does she take?
Annabelle.
Annabelle? Ooh, that's interesting. So we've got two characters from one franchise, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there's... So I'm going to ask you some questions now coming at it from an actor's perspective. Because you can... Is it cosplay? Or are you trying to inhabit these characters?
Well, for me, I've been told that when I dress up as Michael Myers, I pretty much become him. Like, it is in... play the part fully.
Yeah. What is it that sort of led people to think that? Is it how you move and hold yourself, the way you interact with people?
Pretty much.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that, like, so a lot of great actors, we've had Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. We've had an actor by the name of Nick play the first Michael Myers. We've got Kane Hodder, who was known as Jason Voorhees, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. When they talk about putting the costume or the makeup or the mask on, they actually feel that their whole demeanour changes. Is that something that is relevant for both of you?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I don't probably get into it quite as much as
right, okay.
as Michael or the nun.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, they never talk, so I've got to do all the talking.
Yeah, that's true. He's quite chatty, that Pennywise.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for you. You can just walk around and people go, we know who you are.
Not all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Have there been times where people are like, who are you trying to be?
No, plenty of times people walk around and go, there's Jason.
No.
Yeah.
Really? Jason?
Yeah.
So Jason has the hockey mask for people that's kind of... Is that what Sarah dresses?
Yes.
She's the hockey mask one?
Yeah.
She's not the grotesque one from 1 and 2?
No, hockey mask.
Hockey mask all the way. Okay, cool. For you, is it more that you kind of understand the character? because essentially he's kind of grounded in a bit more reality than Pennywise, isn't he?
Yeah, it's I don't know, just trying to be that iconic character that people will recognise.
Or not.
Or not, and the worst thing
Sometimes.
is it's adults that get it wrong.
Yeah. Of course they do.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's seeing people's reactions from like when they've watched the film, or they've watched the film, and
They react accordingly. Yeah.
to go, okay, I know what that guy does.
Yeah. And I would imagine because your version of Pennywise is it's not only very iconic, it's also quite recent as well. You wouldn't get mistaken and be like, oh, look, it's Krusty the Clown. I don't know, I couldn't think of another clown quick enough. So for you, when you're kind of doing that transformation, are you letting that character kind of wash over you? Or are you I'm just putting on a costume and makeup?
It depends what we're doing. Like at the plunge and stuff, it's just a costume and makeup.
Right.
Can't fully get into character when nobody else is talking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
like when we went to the warehouse all dressed up, we were all definitely in character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So using masks is it's kind of one of those time-honored traditions, and it dates all the way back to Greek times when they would put masks on. It would help differentiate characters, right? So you might have a small troupe of like 5 or 6 people, but they'd have a different mask for a different character. So actors might play different characters throughout the course of a play, right? That's kind of how masks came about. Out of those particular characters, what are some of the other characters that you guys portray as well? And I won't say play, because it's not. You're not playing, you're essentially inhabiting that character to a certain level. So other than the shape, Michael Myers, are there other characters that you kind of work with?
Been a Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Juggernaut from 13 Ghosts?
Yes.
Okay, yep. Another great 2000s film.
Yep.
Criminally underrated.
Yep. Recently I was Lurch from the Addams Family.
Lurch from the Addams Family. Now that was Sandbox, right?
Yes.
That was very cool, and it was interesting. It took me a while to recognise you. It was the hair.
Yeah.
You had some.
I had some, yeah.
It was drawn on beautifully. I was like, you got that tattooed because it looks good. But what about you, Callie? What are some of the other characters that you inhabit?
I have done Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay, yep, okay. I thought you were going to say Sally Jesse Raphael. That's terrifying.
I could.
Big shoulder pads and buffy hair. Wow, that's a nightmare in itself. Sorry, carry on. Okay.
And I was Morticia on the weekend.
Morticia Adams with that Sandbox as well. Yep. That was cool.
With my little Wednesday.
Yes, that was so cool. And she stuck it out for the whole day, didn't she?
She did. She was amazing.
Good stuff. Now, that's something that I find really interesting, right? Is that when most people think of horror, they think of what? What do they think of when they think of horror?
Blood and guts.
Blood and guts, violence,
yeah,
and stuff like that, right? Not for kids. But the cool thing with Northland Horror is that you guys are kid-friendly, right? It's all very inclusive, right? Because you bring your own kids and they get amongst it, right? Which is going to segue quite nicely into our Hardy Halloween, because now this is the third year. Thank you, third year that you've put it on. So let's go into a little bit more of that. When you were on the podcast last year, we talked about that quite a bit, and that was for who were we raising funds for then?
So last year it was Kind Hands.
Kind Hands. Yes. And they were a respite house? Yep, cool. Now, you guys haven't gone with Kind Hands this year, have you? You've picked someone else. So who are we endorsing this year?
Children with disability.
Disability?
Yes.
Just one disability.
Children with disabilities.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Cool. And they're obviously another local organisation, yeah?
Yep.
Yes.
It's amazing. How do you find these local organisations?
That's super hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Because when you finished up last year and the search kind of begins, do you go, well, look, we've got these other major places, but do we want to go with a smaller place that doesn't get as much funding? I mean, what criteria do you have when you're sitting down as a group going, man, we need to find another awesome charity that we're going to be able to work with?
So we try and find local.
Yep.
Non-government funded.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Possible.
If
possible, yeah.
Yep.
Or nominal government funding.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so they have to fundraise a lot of their own money for what they want.
Yep. Okay.
And for a Hardy Halloween, it's usually child-based.
Right. Okay. Because the Hardy Halloween is very much geared up towards kids, right?
Yes.
And it's to make... I mean, where did the initial idea come from?
Your dick.
A
Probably.
deck.
Yeah.
Sitting on the deck.
Right. Sitting on the deck, having a few beersies, and we're going, man, we should do some fundraising. That's a great idea. Man, kids love Halloween. Even better. If you tell me that's pretty much how it went.
Pretty
much, yeah. Yeah.
So, out of that first idea to where you are now, what are the learnings you've had along the way?
From the first one is definitely venue size.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because where was the first venue?
Was it Whareora Hall?
Oh, wow. That is snug.
Yeah.
Snug. Let's go with snug. It's not...
Wasn't too bad because it was COVID times.
Oh, of course.
So it was limited to 100 people at a time. So.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, probably ideal. Now, so looking back on that then, and this is the third one, how many tickets are available now?
So now we are going up to 700 tickets.
700
for this year.
Because it was, 100?
100 the first year.
Then
500.
500, which was last year.
Yeah.
And we're at 700 now. Now, I remember when we talked last year, it was like, are we going to sell 500? Are we going to be good? Turns out you creamed it. Hence the number increase this year, right? Yes. So, how is approaching this one that's more and the exponential growth, how has that kind of forced you to think differently about things?
I guess it's just trying to make sure we have enough of everything for everyone.
Yep. You've got to have 700 goodie bags, right?
Yep.
Essentially.
Pretty much, yeah, because each house has their own treat. So
yes.
It all adds up.
Some very late nights and early mornings.
Yes, I could imagine.
Yeah.
Because you've got to sit down and sort everything, right?
And make 750 cupcakes and chocolates and sherbets. And
750 cupcakes.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we've finished working out what Aaron's going to eat for the day, what about the kids?
Yeah, it's just my lunch box.
Yeah. That's the lunch. Wow, okay. So it's like there's a lot of... Yeah, it always struck me as something that sounds like there's just a lot of love and time and care and attention put into it. Yeah. As cynical as this question will be, I'm going to ask it anyway, but what do you guys get out of it?
A lot of sleepless nights.
Okay, we could have kids and the same thing happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a longer thing.
Yeah.
It's not, instead of it being years, it's like weeks. But what's the reward for you guys? What's the payoff? Why do you do this, and why do you want to keep doing it and keep growing it?
Well, for me, it's probably showing that there is people out in the community that are willing to give up their time to do good in the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, for others, you know, like at the moment, Northland Horror, you know, through our Hardy Halloween, we raise money for another charity. We don't get anything out of it apart from promoting a charity and, you know, bringing awareness to them.
And what about from your perspective, Kelly?
Yeah, much the same. Just giving back to the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as someone who is an outsider and can look at it objectively, I think it's amazing what you guys do, because you give up, and we're not talking like, I'm going to sacrifice a couple of hours here and there. We're talking like, I'm going to sacrifice nights, like whole nights, and then days leading up to the event to get everything ready. And I, having MC'd last year's, I saw the huge success that it was, and the press and all the publicity that came out of it was amazing. And I think having something that went from 100 to 500 really put the event on the map. My question now becomes, you're at 700 or 750 this year?
700.
700.
Yeah.
Are you going to go for the 4 figures next year? Or are you just going to sit
We're
at
not
the...
sure.
We're
see
not
what
sure.
happens, see what happens.
Because with each event, I imagine the logistics get harder, right? You know, it's like, well, where the hell am I going to find 800 plushies of a dude with a demon face? I don't know. You've got to spend a lot of time sourcing things and then liaising with people. Other than a Hardy Halloween, is there kind of anything else that you guys are looking at or thinking about as well? We've got the kids. They're sorted. What about the possibility of the adults? The bigger kids?
There is something that we want to work on.
If it's Secret Squirrel, you don't have to drop everything now, but just a little teaser for the listeners and viewers would be nice. He's like, how much information can I say without giving it away? Well, I don't know.
We definitely do want to do a teenage adult event,
like an R16 event type thing?
So a proper horror,
right?
Yeah.
Are we talking like spookers, or are we going somewhere else with it?
Our own version.
Our own version. Yeah,
your own version of spookers.
Yeah.
Right, great answer. Very diplomatic.
I know.
I know. Have you thought of running for politics? No. So would this be this year, or is this something that's kind of being piped up for next year as a maybe?
Possibly next year.
Yeah.
We'll wind down from the Hardy Halloween.
Yes.
And then obviously planning into seeing what we can do.
Yeah. Nice. Well, do you think you might get to a point where you outgrow Kensington Stadium?
Is it anywhere bigger?
I don't know.
Oh, that's that. Because we try to do it indoors, so it doesn't matter what the weather is.
Yes. Very good point. And obviously it's,
if you have it outdoors, then
you're weather dependent.
Weather dependent.
Yeah. Right. Like hire a big commercial shed down at the Port Whangarei, and there's like a big massive hangar or something like that. Do that.
Yeah.
2,000 tickets. Oh!
Problem with that though,
Yes,
is the tickets are just for the trick-or-treaters. That's not including the families that come with them.
Ah, of course. So if there's 2 kids, there's mum and dad, right? That's 4 people.
Yeah.
That's essentially 2,000 tickets, but 4,000 people in total, excluding all the volunteers.
Yeah.
And if it gets that big, excluding security,
Yeah.
that's going to be needed, the wranglers and everyone that's doing all the houses and stuff like that. Now, you've got a poster down here. Let's get that up. Let's hold that up. So we've got a Hardy Halloween here. Children with disability. And this is going to be Mackay Stadium again.
Yes.
I think I incorrectly called it Kensington Stadium, but it's the same thing. And it's on 29th of October from 11 till 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, people, where can they get tickets from?
So they can jump onto our Facebook page.
Yes.
And there is a link there under the description. Or
Excellent.
You jump onto eventbrite.com.
And just search
up A Hardy Halloween.
A Hardy Halloween.
Yep.
And that goes from there. Cool. Now, it's interesting. There's a lot of sponsors on there that weren't on there last year. So it is very cool to see the community get behind it more as each year grows.
Yep.
I'm going to grab this from you and pop it down. So, I mean, on behalf of Northland Artists Conversation, thank you both very much for coming in and sitting with us and sharing some of your insights behind not only Northland Horror, but characters in general as well. It's been absolutely amazing, guys. And much like last year, I know it's going to be a bigger success than what you're anticipating. So, thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, there you go, everyone. That was Aaron and Kelly from Northland Horror. Great guests. Super cool. Aaron's been on the podcast before, but it was lovely to have Kelly as a first-time guest on. The weird moment halfway through where we had, all the lights go out in the studio. Yeah. Look, I won't lie. I wasn't expecting it. It's definitely something that was a little bit weird. And then we had the 2 entities from the Mexican festival, the Day of the Dead, arrive. But still, lots of fun. So if you can watch this podcast, I would highly recommend it. Jump on our YouTube channel, Northland Artists Conversation. That is where you'll probably get to really understand what I'm talking about. You'll hear it, but with the visuals, it is definitely a lot better, a lot more interesting as well. So guys, thank you so much for coming in and representing Northland Horror. And I'm going to reach down very quickly. And the Hardy Halloween poster, hopefully I've got it right in the middle of the shot. Looks good. That way, that way, that way. Producer Andrew's giving me the fingers. Well, not the fingers, but he's... You know what I mean. He's telling me which way to point it. So there we go. Kind of the middle of the shot. Hardy Halloween, Mackay Stadium, 29th of October this year, 11 till 3. Tickets are only $10 for anyone that wants to be a trick-or-treater. But if you just want to come down and you've bought some tickets for your kids, for example, when you want to come down and do some stuff, yeah, absolutely. It's very, very cool. Get them from either Eventbrite, .com or go check out Northland Horror's Facebook page. You'll get a little bit of a taste as to what they do. I'm going to pop this poster down. Not because it's heavy, but because of what I need to do next. I'm going to switch to my camera. So, where can you, our amazing audience, find out more information about this podcast? Whether it be the video or the socials or the audio. I'm going to go through all of that for you now. So, for the audio, you can go to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all Northland Artists Conversation. For the audio, you can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Again, Northland Artists Conversation. And if you are a creative and you would love to be on here, or if you know someone who is a creative that would be awesome on here, we would love to hear from you. So just simply email us, hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. That would be amazing. We've also got some new business cards as well, and we're kind of handing those out to people. So if we're in the shot and I'm on this side, we'll put the business card up somewhere around there. Yep, I'm getting the big thumbs up from producer Andrew there, so that's good. And we also have Patreon as well. Patreon is where you can go and you can support us a little bit more. Patreon is one of those things that we really do appreciate, because the donations that we get from our patrons really do mean a lot, and they help in every little bit. There's, with the Patreon page, there's 2 ways that you can support. So you can go to our first tier, which we have affectionately called Cup of Coffee, and that's $5 a month. And that way, it's just a little way of saying, hey, look, we really appreciate what you do. We support it. Second tier we have is Coffee Addict. Now, that's $20 a month, but that gives you a few little extras that you don't necessarily get with the $5 tier. Those extras being, we'll give you a shout out on the podcast. If there's questions you want to me to ask our guest, you just email me and I will do that. And you also get to know the guests in advance who's coming out. So I'm going to thank our wonderful patrons now who have been supporting us for a long time. It really does mean a lot. So I'm going to which way am I going to do it today? You know what? I'm going to start off with the most recent and then go backwards. I'm going to thank Jenny Purchase, a former podcast guest who is amazing. She's putting together an absolutely amazing book. Highly recommend checking it out. We've then got Maggie Coco, a beautifully talented musician. She's so lovely, such a kind and caring soul. Maggie, would love to have you back on the podcast. Please feel free to reach out, or we'll reach out to you. Michael Boter. Michael was doing some amazing things in the writing space at the moment. He is about to drop his second book of horror short stories, and that looks like it will be an absolute barn burner. The first book he did was hugely successful, so this one promises to be even better. And our last patron supporter, I'd like to thank Lauren Roach for being an amazing supporter and continuing to be an amazing supporter to this day. Guys, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Now, where can you find our Patreon? Well, there's two ways. First, you can go to Google, type in Patreon, that's Patreon. Top right-hand corner, create an account, sign in, and then search Northland Artists Conversation, pick your tier, and we can go from there, nice and easy. Second way, a little bit easier. Just open up your webpage and go to www.patreon.com/Northland Artists Conversation, all one word. Again, create your account, log in, search, and we'll be there. We're there. You just pick your tier and go from there. So thank you very much. That's how you get in touch with patrons. So I'm going to go back to my wide camera now. It's a beautiful time. Sunshine is good. I'm sure those words will come back to bite me later on in the year, but it is nice to see the sun out, getting some absolutely beautiful days at the moment. The days are getting longer, getting a bit warmer as well, which is super cool. We've had some amazing changes in the studio. We've had chairs. We've got some new hardware. We've got our lighting design has been changed and redone, and we've got a few really awesome projects that are kind of coming up that we're hoping to launch 2024. So, there's a lot going on and we are so excited. We cannot wait to share it all with you. This will be amazing. So on that high note, thank you very much for joining us on the Northland Artists Conversation, and we will see you guys real soon.